It was a total blowout yesterday for Ken Paxton over John Cornyn. He's going to go on to face James Tallarico in the general election, where Republicans really want to hold on to that seat. So we're going to cover all these results from yesterday's runoff in Texas. And some of the results are still coming in, but first up is the big one. It's U.S. Senate. And given that Trump recently endorsed Paxton, there wasn't really any surprise at all that four-term incumbent Senator John Cornyn is done. What is a surprise is this massive margin. Right now it's at 28%. That's got to be more than double what I was expecting. So an absolute dismal showing there for Cornyn, but he did win two significant counties. He's got Dallas, where he just barely won it, and he's got Travis. About a 6-point win there. But this was really all about Ken Paxton. He did pretty well in pretty much all of the state. So he's going to face Democrat James Tallarico in November. Paxton has a ton of baggage, but he's already won statewide several times. Tallarico, he's young. Democrats think he's the guy to flip the state blue, but he might have some struggles of his own on some past statements on some cultural issues. Let's go down here. And you can see here that Cornyn has nothing to talk about. Paxton ran it up in major cities, suburbs, and the rural counties. There's zero bright spots here for Cornyn. Paxton won mostly white counties by plus 28, and he won mostly Hispanic counties by plus 32. So that's it. This race does seem like it's going to be more competitive in November than if it were Cornyn as the nominee. Paxton has baggage, but it is a pretty red state, but at the same time, it's going to be a blue-leaning year. But I'd say that Paxton is going to have at least a bit of an edge for the time being. The last thing about the Senate race is here's the shifts in these counties since the first round of the primary back in March. And it's all big arrows to the right. So there's no shame for Cornyn. He was in there for 4 terms. He's in his 70s now. He could just retire. Call it a career, but he could join Bill Cassidy as the other incumbent senators to lose this year. Let's do a quick rundown of some of the other runoffs that were happening. Here's Lieutenant Governor. This was just for the Dems. The winner is Vicki Goodwin. She got more than 2/3 of the vote. She did her best outside of South Texas, and she's going to face incumbent Dan Patrick in November. Here's Attorney General. We had a runoff on both sides. For the Republicans, this was the seat held by Ken Paxton. The winner is Mays Middleton. It's about an 11-point spread here over Congressman Chip Roy. Roy did win a decent amount of counties, but it just wasn't enough. Middleton ran it up around Houston and the Harris County area. So in November, he's going to face Democrat Nathan Johnson. He won a runoff of his own by about 20%. This one is a little bit more mixed, but looks like Johnson did a lot better in the more populated counties. Here's a race that hasn't been called yet. This is for Railroad Commissioner. And with 90% of the vote in, Beau French is leading incumbent Republican Jim Wright. It's about a 1.4% margin. The county map here is totally scattered. We'll see if anything changes, but like with all these races, statewide in the fall, Republicans are going to be favored. Now let's get into some U.S. House races. Now remember, the map was redrawn, so here's one where 2 Democrats had to face each other. Christian Menefee and Al Green, they're both currently in office. Al Green has been in there a long time. Menefee just got in a special election recently, but this wasn't even close. Menefee demolished Green by more than 35%. In November, he's going to easily win that seat. In another blue district in Dallas, we've got a notable matchup here between Colin Allred. You know him from challenging Ted Cruz in 24. Plus, he was in the U.S. House before that. He's facing off against incumbent Julie Johnson, and he actually defeated her by about 7.5%. So his political comeback is already underway, and he took down an incumbent. In the 35th, near San Antonio, in this open seat, the Trump-endorsed Carlos de la Cruz, who's the brother of current Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz. He won by 19% over Abbott-endorsed John Lujan. Republicans should be able to win that seat, but in a big blue wave, there's a chance this seat could become in danger. Now here's the rest of the U.S. House races. There were other runoffs here, but in November, they're going to be so lopsided one way or the other, there's no point in actually looking at these. After that, there's also some runoffs in the state legislature. So take a look at these if you're interested in some of these down-ballot races. And finally, there's a few other notable races here. So that's what we've got in Texas, and I'll close it out here by taking a look at the markets for this U.S. Senate race. Here's Polymarket. Republicans at 54%, Dems 48%. If we go to Kelshi, it's a little bit wider. Paxton specifically is at 55, Tallarico 45. And I predicted the best one yet here for the Republicans is at 60% to 41. So this is the beginning of this race for the general election. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get expensive. Maybe Paxton wins by 9 or 10%. Maybe Tallarico wins by 2 or 3. There's a lot of range here, and I know Republicans think there's no chance Paxton can lose. I think Dems think that Tallarico is easily going to be the guy to put this state in play. I think the reality is somewhere closer to the middle. But that's a quick recap of what happened in the Texas runoff. So let me know in the comments. What do you think about any of these races? In particular, that Senate race. What do you think about John Cornyn going down in flames? Is Paxton too controversial for the general? What about any of the other statewide or down ballot races? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.